America and its gun problem. So, Jolene, mute the thing. So in Colorado yesterday, the man walked into a grocery store, pop off, kill 10 people. This was, yesterday. Was that yesterday or the day before yesterday? The last week, that man in Atlanta go to 3 different massage parlors, kill 8 people, and so these 2 big mass shootings in the past couple in the past couple weeks. And as those stories bust, I just realized, you know what? I have not heard any of these stories in a while. Because of the pandemic, people not moving around as much. No school shootings because there wasn't any school, and so there was just less of this. But I had no idea. I said, even though mass shootings were down last year had the most murders by gun in the US in the past 20 years.
Yep.
It was a record. When I heard that surprised me, because I thought everything was going to be down because everybody in lockdown and quarantine, and people quarantine just among certain people, then they kill at a higher rate. From a number standpoint, in last year in 2020, 20,000 people died by gun in the United States. Homicides, 24,000 more suicide by gun. That's 44,000 people died by gun last year in the US. On top of that, 40,000 people injured by gun. For like in the case of in the Colorado, the guy's family said that, he's mentally not well. And, I heard one of them saying that he was with his sister the other day. And then he was like, some people are following me, they're following me. And she goes in the parking lot and nobody was there. So these issues happen all the time. Every country in the world has a lot of mentally ill people. No country has this problem that the United States has with this absurd number of gun deaths. So, Jolene, before you get on the road, I'll kick it off with you.
Okay.
Why is the problem in America so bad when it comes to gun deaths? What's your synopsis there?
Well, one feeling I have is that believe it or not, we have too much freedom in this country, and a lot of people don't know how to deal with that or be responsible for the level of freedom that we have compared to most countries. And so when I heard about this shooting, matter of fact, there have been 7 mass shootings in the past 7 days in the United States. I thought about when my god sister's husband took me hunting with his father, and at first we were doing target practice, and he was like, "Girl, you need to go with us because you're hitting it right on." But when he said that, something in me said, "But I don't want to shoot something. I don't want to harm something. I don't want to kill something. Yeah, it's fun to practice and hang out with you guys, but I don't want to actually use a gun on somebody." And it's like, I don't know what it takes to get a gun license. I don't know what it takes to legally purchase a gun. But somehow, some way, it seems to be too easy to purchase illegal firearms. And these people are buying all these rifles and shooting up people. And then, yes, maybe mental illness plays a part in it, but to use that as the reason or excuse, like some of the law enforcement are doing for these young white boys that go out and kill people. It's like, are you serious right now? When this happened in the movie theater, I don't remember what year this was, when they shot up the movie theater.
In Aurora, Colorado, yep.
Yes, that literally put fear in my heart. Like, I did not want to go anywhere. Like, I had anxiety. That's when I started using grocery delivery services, because I didn't even want to go to the grocery store. So it's like, who in their right mind would purchase a gun and go out and just kill people. So it's like people are saying that, you know, there need to be stricter, I guess, protocol for how you purchase a gun, but then people are going to find a loophole. And then it's like, we just have, in so many ways, we just have too much freedom in this country, and people don't know how to be responsible with the freedom that we're blessed with in this country. So it's sad when so many people lose their lives for absolutely no reason. And at this point, I don't even know what we can do. What are the manufacturers doing about it? Who are making these guns that people are buying and using?
Not a damn thing. So the U.S.'s population is at about 330 million. I think.
Yeah.
There are like 300 and almost 400 million guns owned by civilians within the U.S. So it's a gun and a half for every citizen. Babies, everybody gets a gun. But you know what? The availability of guns is one thing. But I looked at Canada also has a high gun ownership rate. Canada doesn't have the US's problem. So it's something else going on here. It's not, yes, I think availability and access to guns is part of it, but something else going on here, man. I mean, it's beyond the ownership. I think there are a lot of things that we need to do regarding, who can get a gun under what conditions. But there's something else within the fabric of this nation that makes, and it's not like the U.S. is a poor country. We're one of the wealthiest countries in the world. There, of course, there's a big divide between haves and have-nots. But if you compare like the U.S. to other first world quote unquote nations, it's a ridiculous. If you look at the chart of it, that the gun deaths like in per 100,000 in the U.S. compared to like Germany and Canada. The U.S. is like way over here. Everybody else is like way over here. There's something else going on, especially
there is a lot of entitlement in American youth. Let me use youth because most of these mass killings are being done by youth.
What you call youth?
It can span a large.
Okay.
Are
you a youth?
Of ages. I would consider myself youth, yes.
Yeah, so, youth. Okay.
Between maybe teenage years to early 30s, late 30s.
Okay. I'm definitely not a youth.
All right. But the point I'm trying to make though is that I see where American youth tend to be very entitled. They feel like they should have what they want whenever they want, however they want, and at anybody else's expense. So that's one thing that I've noticed that is a little different in some of the other regions of the world that I've been in actually, and that I've spent time getting to know people who live in those areas. And the second thing is like what Jojo said, the liberty. We feel as though we're free to do whatever and say whatever, and there should be no consequence. I think about the young man, the gentleman who was shoveling the snow with his wife. I don't know if you saw that video.
Yeah, I saw that.
I did.
And I'm like, it shouldn't matter to you. Well, one part of the issue is self-esteem, obviously. Because if somebody can call me by that name and it riles up so much anger within me, it means that something is wrong with my self-esteem.
Man, that was...
I should be so secure in myself that no matter if you call me a monkey donkey, it shouldn't bother me to that extent that I'm going to give up my freedom and give up my life just to get back at you. It says a lot about my self-esteem.
I mean, like people get to that point that they're not thinking. They react. Like, I'm just like picturing a video there, the snow shoveling incident. I mean, apparently they had issues, but to the way, it's just hard to just envision the way some people just kill a human like it's a roach. You know what I mean? The man just walk in his house casually, come back out casually, and and just pop off and, am I on the ground?
He asked her again what you just said. Like, say it again, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
to boost,
Yeah.
almost to boost his ego.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I have no idea about this snow incident. What happened?
Me send you a video that.
Okay.
Graphic.
Yeah, it's so.
Basically,
Yeah.
a man and his wife were shoveling the snow. They asked another gentleman who was their neighbor to remove his vehicle. He didn't want to remove his vehicle, and then the man started arguing with the other man, saying that he was whatever name he thought a kitty name, and then
A kitty
they
there.
started throwing curse words at each other. The woman got involved, and I believe that it was because the woman started calling the man by the kitty name that made him so upset.
She called him a kitty. That's not too bad.
If I did just that.
So what happened? They eventually killed each other?
Yes, and then the man killed himself.
Yeah.
If
So-
you just
so-
one day don't want to kill somebody with himself. Did one
Yeah, you could see from like the
That's why I said
surveillance
goes back-
camera of somebody's house, and it just matter of factly walk back in. It's like you see them there arguing on the street. Matter of factly walk into his house.
Yeah,
Matter of factly walk back out, and you see, and then it shot the man, and after the man on the ground, dying, walk back over to him, shot him a few more times. I mean, just matter of factly. It's but again, these like the big mass, killings get a lot of the headlines, but this stuff happens every day. I look at one, murder here, one murder there that we never hear about. It happens every single day. Especially, how do we fix this problem? What do we need to do?
Yeah, well,
We need a solution.
One of your artists said it the best years ago when he talked about when he said until the color of a man's skin is of no more significance than the color of his eyes, right? You're not gonna have them, right? It's all about respecting life, and these people don't respect life. If you respect life, you wouldn't treat it like that, right? It's just like earlier, was it this week or last week when a man just shoot a 60-year-old just because she spills on water, right? And I found that, what could a 60-year-old do to you, right? That you felt like you just need to shoot her, not scold her or shout at her, shoot her, right? That is lack of respect for life. And until we have moved past that as a nation, it will not change. Because consider the guy who shoot up the massage parlors. A place where he go all the time, he can go over there all the time. So he probably know the people but guess what? Every time him go over there, he had no respect for them. Right? That's why he did it. No respect for them. They were giving him a service. Apparently he was happy with the service because he kept going back, right? But one day he decided, them people are not operate no more business about them. Me I kill everybody. And that is what I'm telling you.
And
Lack of respect for life.
And again, the way I again saw the surveillance video of that, the way he casually walked in the place.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Casually walked back out after he killed 6 people and just keep going.
I didn't see the video, but I don't think I want to see it.
No,
you didn't see anything, You didn't
the shooting isn't on the video.
Yeah,
it's from outside the business. And you see the man drive up, casually walk out of his car, and then you see when he's leaving. Not like him take off running and he casually walk back out.
Yeah,
and
walk right back out.
And
Like
just drive along. Gone to the next one.
It's just a lack of respect for life and other people's life also, just like what they do with the mask. They don't care, right? Because I can do it, I will do it.
It goes right back to what Jojo said. To whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
And when you have this amount of responsibility on your shoulders, this amount of freedom, you have to be responsible with it.
Yeah,
and I think it's the nation also, because other nations have guns, have access to guns. Australia a lot of access to guns.
Mhm.
But they don't view life like that. You don't have mass killings like that. They might have even police shootings. They don't have a lot of. And they have access to guns. It's just how we view life here, right? That is the problem. And, you know, freedom is everywhere, right? You can get a gun if you really want to get a gun in a country. But people that have it here, they just feel like, hey, I can end your life. And you hear people curse other people with it. I can kill you. I can end your life. Like that.
You know, I certainly agree with all those points regarding, you know, the mentality and the lack of respect for life. And, you know, so, you know, again, these are things that we can work on a long-term basis. We're not changing these mindsets, you know, within the next year, right? From a more immediate impact, what can be done is the role that the government plays in this. And, you know, our lack of doing anything, lack of political will to do anything. You know, it just irritates me. Like the cycle is predictable every time these things happen, right? Especially for the 1 or 2 murder here and there, we don't hear anything about them. That not making the national news for sure. For the mass killings, everybody will get all up in arms. Then they'll talk about mental health. We need to do something about mental health. One side will say that. The other side will say, we need to do something about guns. And they just talk. And then ultimately nothing gets done. They just offer thoughts and prayers. You know, and so, you know, I was actually talking to my wife about this last night. Like, you know, what will it take, you know, for them to change the way they view this? And I was like, no single external event will change how they do it. If 20 dead first graders in Newtown didn't change their mindset, nothing will. One of the worst Republicans in Congress regarding gun control issues, Steve Scalise from Louisiana, has been shot himself in a mass shooting where he almost lost his life, and he's as bad as anyone as non-negotiable on this thing. So no external issue is going to move them. They simply need to be replaced. The people who are in the way, they need to be replaced. Point blank period. That's all we can do. We can't. It's easier to change the people than to change the people's minds. You know, I mean, we can't talk about a list of things that, you know, something like universal background check, right? Just, you know, I don't want to get into a bunch of policy discussion, but that one to me is simple. I think that's roughly 40% of the guns that are bought within the US are bought without a background check. I mean, you could have 100 felonies and whatever, but you can buy it. Because of these loopholes, like if you buy it over the internet, there's no background check. If you buy it at a gun show, there's no background check. So things like that. Yeah, you know, so you know, like I saw,
it goes even. It has to go beyond that, where people have to start loving each other. Love your neighbor as yourself. If you don't want somebody to do something to you, don't do it to somebody else.
Good luck with
Those
that.
are the fundamental things that are not being taught in homes anymore.
That's true.
The village approach that we used to have, where you could see my child and say something to my child, and that child can't come home and say, you know, Chris said blah, 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 and then I come cuss you out and tell you
I mean, Chris, that's call out my name.
So, and then say, oh, I don't want you to talk to my child. So but the adults in the situations, they are contributing to the children coming up and thinking that's the norm. Look at our movies, look at our, almost every kid is into video games. What is on all of those video games? So when I pick up a gun and I shoot someone, I'm just thinking video games. I am not recognizing, like especially say, I need to respect that that person is alive and can feel pain the way I do. So until we get back to the basics where we recognize that love is that string that binds everything and keeps everything together, we're not gonna get there. So we have to start there. If you're saying that this guy got shot up on everything and he's still one of the biggest gun persons around.
Yeah.
So obviously something wrong with you mentally from day one. A lot of the kids in America their parents use medication to keep them calm when nothing was really wrong with them.
So those medication now have side effects where they get mental illness, they get all kinds of other stuff. And all of these things now are happening to people because of all of the things that happen from birth until you get to the place where you decide, you know what, I'm big enough, bad enough to do whatever I want to do. And like Amika was saying, where they feel like they're entitled to stuff, it is happening. I'm an academic advisor, and oftentimes I have to say, no, that's not how it goes. I should be able to do whatever I want. You cannot come in my office if you're a male with a hat on. It's a part of the university rule. I should be able to do whatever I want. No, you cannot do whatever you want. Like my mom always says, even in hell there are rules, because not everybody can go to hell.
How should
if that's the case, we have to start putting things in place for people to start recognizing that, listen, there's a reaction, there's consequences for everything that you do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. However, those are things that aren't going to be fixed in the short term, right? I'm speaking like from a policy, because policy has a role in this too. So I'm talking about that aspect of it. Yes, you got to
remember what drives policy, though. Everything is driven by intrinsic motivation or extrinsic motivation. So something has to drive it. So if somebody's not passionate enough about life and say, you know what, let us do something, even if it takes my life, to make sure something is put in place for the others. That's how slavery ended. You have some people that say, you know what, even if they kill me, the people after me shouldn't have to go through what I go through. Nobody's making those sacrifices anymore.
Right. To me, it's not an either or though. Right. To me, it's, yes, the aspect of things and the mentality and yes, that matters. I'm talking from the people that represent us in government have a direct role in managing who is able to get access to, so at least make it more difficult for somebody who is mentally ill to go. And so, like in the case of the Colorado guy.
So a lot of them that they say are mentally ill, when did they actually diagnose them to be mentally ill? After the shooting.
Yeah.
So it's like you're taking a sieve to carry water. It's not gonna go from there.
No, but I'm saying.
90%, especially these white people that are gunning people down, all of a sudden they have mental illness. Where's the history to show that they've
I'm not talking about the mentally ill specifically. I'm talking generally keeping guns out of the hands of people who should not have them. Right? Our legislators have a role.
Laws they're gonna hit you with.
No, I mean whatever it is. Again, who makes the laws, right? So we, as a voting population, have a direct role in who we put in those positions. Yes, there's not there is not a single based on democracy. There is not a single law that will prevent all of these shootings. It's impossible, but we can make it more difficult. Yes, this is based on democracy, and that's why it comes again to who is in those offices. So we, as a voting population, we as a voting population have a direct impact on who is in those offices. So we know the stance of our representative, and we know the stance of those running against them. It is up to us as a voting population to put into those offices people who are aligned with our thinking regarding what is the role of legislators to do their best to create laws that need to be created to track and keep guns out of the hands of the wrong people. There is no one answer to it. There's no law that's going to prevent all of this from happening. But you can make it more difficult. You can make it more difficult, so that's what we need to do.
There isn't, which is true, but it still boils down to individualism. I get all this power to do this, but when I tell you one thing, and then when I get into the position, I realize I'm being pressured by X, Y, and Z, and then do I crack under pressure, or am I so fearful for my life that I'm not gonna stand for what people voted me in for? can I or should I be voted out because I did not give my promise? You're in
I
that
think
office
you
for
have a
X
very
amount of time.
valid point. That's a very valid point because most of the times, individuals that go into politics or take up a position within a society genuinely go in with the need or the want or the wish to change things for the better. It is when they come across other persons who are no longer like-minded, and then they feel the pressure from those individuals that they change and be like, oh, it's okay, and then they start tweaking their own beliefs to suit so that they can remain in the position that they are.
That's when we replace them. Point blank period. It's up to us still. Who's in those seats?
Policies are big of persons, is not just one person. And the same people that you put in power or people that have certain positions are the ones who approve them. And look how many things go to Congress and they shut them down because they don't have enough votes for them to go forward.
Sure.
So how do you vote them out? How them out before the time they're supposed to come out? And once they're in politics, they're not going anywhere.
Look, all we can do is hold them accountable. They promise to do a certain thing a certain way, and if they don't, we replace them. What those people want more than anything is that job and the power and prestige that comes along with it. So it's up to us still to hold them accountable. You know, you say you're going to do X, Y, Z, and you didn't do it. So election coming up next year, so you're gone. You know, so it's still, you know, again,
but by
these
next
things,
year you're gone and me tell you the same thing and then me
but you know, but look, a cycle. That's how politics go. It's still up to us to speak with our votes of our beliefs, our values, who, you know, we want representing us, and then it's up to us to put pressure on them while they're in office, and it's up to us to hold them accountable with our votes. You know what I mean? So that's it's not easy.
This is a very valid point. I'd like to say too that as much as in America it is said, "In God we trust," I think that God has been wiped out of the society. And I am going to play devil's advocate from school. I mean, you're not allowed to say a prayer anymore. Usually in school we'd have devotions. Sometimes it is just how you're socialized from a younger age. Because I remember when they used to have prayers in schools over here. Because I have older cousins who used to go to school.
Not in public school.
It's been a while, but
I saw your oil.
I have older cousins who have gone to schools over here, well, in Georgia. And they used to have devotion before school until that was cut out. And I think that when you have a fear for God, you have a different level of respect for life, you have a different level of respect for others, and you have a different level of respect for yourself. And I think that once that aspect is not there, it doesn't even have to be God. A belief in a supreme being would be sufficient.
Them still have that in Jamaica, don't they?
No, it's not even that.
Devotion not in school again.
I hear what Amika is saying, but
they still
I don't
have
think
devotion in Jamaica.
I don't think.
And they pick them and look out what's.
No,
you know?
I mean, Amika is not wrong. She's not wrong. A lot of so even
she's not right
flashing out in Jamaica, right? We still don't have privileges to certain things. They can fight and use stone, or they maybe use knife or stuff, but you don't have the level of gun violence in terms of
strictly availability. That's strictly availability.
I don't agree with you.
Strictly availability. If guns were as easily available in Jamaica,
I have taught in schools in Jamaica, and for certain purposes, I'm not going to call the names of the school, but I've taught
Which school?
Students of mine have been members of community gangs forcibly by their parents, and they have their weapons, but they don't take them to school. That is a requirement of the person who is in charge of their gang. It must be left XYZ place. It should not be taken to school. And if they leaders of those gangs find out that those boys are taking the guns to school, they're gonna be in serious trouble. So there is still some kind of respect there that I don't think is here.
No, I agree with that at all.
But it's true.
No, the only
I didn't work in the school system, but I
don't
know
agree with that at all.
that that's true.
That's availability. They're
what
Jamaica, from a mindset standpoint, have the same issue. There's just less availability of guns in Jamaica compared to here. Jamaica still has the highest, murder rate in the Caribbean. I mean, so with all the prayer in school and all that, yes, I'm a Christian. Yes, I think that's a good thing. However, I don't think it solves this issue.
No, it's not a believe in a higher power problem, because anybody will tell you that know anything about history. Believers are the most violent set of people on this planet. Right? Take any religion you want to take. Believers are the most violent, right? Because they believe in a God, but they believe that God tell them to do it. And when you believe God tell you to do it, you go all in. And you can take any of them. Take any of the religions you want to choose. Rasta. They are the most violent.
Which Rasta? Who Rasta ever kill? What Rasta ever do?
Who's Selassie? No kill nobody.
Nobody ever killed from Selassie.
It's just basic human respect is what is lacking. Just basic.
And without love, you can't respect anybody. Because you first have to love yourself enough to think about the next person, that
exactly,
that person may have feelings just like I do. So it boils right back down to those two words.
And I mean, it shows itself in all aspects of our life. You have people, they'll come and see a line and they'll try to skip the line. Why is that? Because you don't respect me. You see me standing in the line, but you don't respect that.
Because you're in my way.
Right? It's just like you're on the freeway driving, and you notice somebody who don't want to join the line from the back, drive past everybody and try to cut right at the top where the exit is. That is just lack of respect.
I'm going like you never do that yet. You never do that yet?
No.
You're told lie. Everybody has done that.
This is
everybody
Texas.
has done that.
This is Texas.
Especially
I see what they do.
Everybody.
You're told lie.
I see what they do. People here.
Jojo probably doing that right now as she's driving to her. I'm told lie.
But it's a lot of deep-rooted respect that we have to get over.
Stop texting or stop zooming and driving, Jojo. Anyway, when our insurance don't cover that. Anyway. So before we move on to I think everybody has made valid points. And I think the long and short of this conversation to me is there is not one solution.
No.
There is not one thing that can be done. Yes, it starts in the home. Yes, it can be done from a policy standpoint. Many different things. Or they believe in in love and believe in a higher power. I think all these things matter. And so there is a role, I think, for many people to play, within our own homes, within our communities, within our mentoring with, others, within our votes, so many different things to do. So I think what, that a takeaway from this to me is for everyone watching this, anyone who has an interest in bettering our society in some way, just ask yourself, what can you do differently to help with this, make our country, our world better from this standpoint? It's not an easy answer. It's not one thing to do, but this country has a problem, and we need to address it.